Okay, culinary magic here. We're at the Taste of Dublin, really bring the food to the people and the people to the food. And a man that I have here, Gary Rhodes, thank you very much.
Not at all, my pleasure.
I've seen you on The Hot Chefs, you know, your first stint on TV.
Yeah.
You've travelled through Britain, roads on Britain and all that. Now you're here in Dublin. What's going to happen in your restaurant and what are you going to bring?
Well, I mean, basically, I want to bring people just good, simple food at good, simple prices. You know, I think there's so many great flavours in Ireland. I want to use as many local ingredients as possible. And I think that's what's to be taken advantage of, you know, great Irish tastes and give it to great Irish people. I mean, it's quite incredible how the culinary world has changed in this country, so I just want to be part of it.
Yeah, the culinary world has really changed, and for a long time we were struggling, but now, as you see, Richard Corrigan and Paul Rankin, they've gone to Britain bringing back the glower, and also, like, looking at the ingredients that we have, there is the actual platform there to bring a new stage of Irish glower.
Oh, very much so, very much so. I think, you know, there's so many great old classic dishes as well that I want to try and give maybe a little more of a modern and new twist to. But as you say, some of the great French chefs want to come over here now. A lot of the great Irish chefs who've gone over are coming back to open up. And that is giving me the passport to say I want to be part of this and get it here.
You, Gary, you've inspired a lot of Irish chefs. You know, it is just your whole presence here that brings a new kind of emphasis on eating and actually bringing, you know, the flavour to the people. Your new restaurant, tell me about the new restaurant.
Oh, that I can't tell you how excited I am. You know, obviously when you get involved with a new restaurant, but here, I mean, in a city like this, which has become so vibrant, you know, the people of Dublin, they just want good food, but they want good food at good prices, and that is exactly what I want to give them. You know, they've got such an amazing sort of palette. You know, there's all kinds of different restaurants here. There is something for everyone, but I want to try and pack that into one big room. So we've got a big restaurant, seats about 250 people, and you know, it is about giving people sort of simple food, simple prices, and a range of cooking that's going to suit everybody. So,
any signature dishes from Gary Rhodes for Dublin?
Oh, you'll see a few turn up. You know, there's going to be something along the bread and butter pudding lines, and the great old, you know, Irish cheddar rarebit with the smoked haddock and tomato salad, a dish I've been cooking for 20 years, so it had to be here.
And what about our Chateau Dublin, our best Irish wine, the Old Guinness?
Oh, well, Guinness. Oh, goodness me. It's worth being here just for that wonderful, wonderful drink. So, yeah, can't wait to keep trying it.
Okay, well, we're very excited. Gary's arrived in Dublin. Things are going to be happening in culinary world with the Taste of Dublin. Rory Morahan, the Druid Chef, bringing the food to the people and the people to the food. Thank you. I am the Druid Chef of Celtic Pass with the vision of Celtic cuisine, the fire of power, the passion of food, the knowledge of ingredients and the skill of the Druid Chefs. Welcome everybody here today. This is Celtic Cuisine coming live for our TV programme, for you people. I am the Druid Chef, as I said, and I bring the food to the people and the people to the food. My mission in a culinary sense is to go back in time and to look at what we ate as Celts, what rich ingredients we had, and also to come back to the table of the world with new set of recipes to represent Ireland in the modern day. My first dish today, we're going to do an Irish coastal stew. And we know about the lamb stew, we know about how our farmer families, we lived off that, the lovely lamb stew, the potatoes and all that. Well, I'm trying to revert that into the sea and look at what I have. So I have a nice bit of monkfish, I have some turbot and also lemon sole. I have little Dublin Bay prawns that I'm going to use with a Gallego rice. And when I go to Gallego, I'm talking about Galicia in Spain, where I'm using the Celtic connection as Northern Europe. If you take Brittany, Galicia, you take Scotland, you take Wales, you take Cornwall, all these lovely Celtic regions, we have a synergy in our food, in our language, in our music, in our culture, in our makeup. And that's what I'm trying to use a little bit of our cousins over in Galicia to use the actual stew. Now, right, just get my pot on, and as I said, I have a little bit of the sole and the turbot all going in there. We'll steam them off, and then I'll get working on the sauce, and then I will actually do the actual rice then in a Galician style. I have a little lobster sauce here as well that I have to finish, and that's going to be with a cream in there. And then we're looking at the colours of Ireland. We're looking at the green, the white fish, and the gold of the lobster sauce brought into the Celtic Sea in a lovely Irish coastal stew. Okay, so I get my lid on there. The lid, have we lid, please? Thank you. And what I'm using as well, I'll give you an idea of some of the ingredients. I don't use salt and pepper in my cookery. I use a Celtic salt. It is kind of like with clove, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of cayenne, and paprika in there, and also some herbs. And that's what I bring as a flavour. And that seasons all my food. So I have a continuity going through how I use the actual seasoning. So a little bit of my salt, my Celtic salt just going in there. And they will steam up nicely. And I'll get working on the actual rice. So what I have in the rice, I have a little bit of saffron. I have also some nice barley in there. And when I talk about barley, that is the Breton laws. That is our grain food of old that we used. And also it is a product that hasn't been really used enough. So I'm not trying to use potato in my Celtic food as a dominating product. I'm trying to use different oatmeal, grains of Ireland, you know, my nice herbs, all those kind of rich indigenous ingredients. Okay, so we're cooking up a storm here. I'm just going to get my prawns in. I hope you're all happy out there, are you? Very, very important. Because if you're not, I'm not doing my job right. I put some prawns in here. I have the barley, I have a little bit of seaweed in there, and also I have a little bit of tomato to go in there. Need to season that a little bit. Again with my Celtic salt. And it's all that lovely rock salt with that lovely spice kind of flavours into it. Okay, so the sauce is coming alive. That's good. Now, right, next what I need to do is just use a little bit of my whipped cream into the sauce. And using whipped cream, when you whip cream, you aerate it. So you're putting, you know, a sponge into the cream. And when you put that into a sauce, you aerate the sauce. So you get a lighter sauce, although it's rich with a little bit of cream. And again, when you're looking at butter or when you're looking at cream in cookery, you can use those, but in moderation. Too much of anything is bad for you, and a little bit of something is always good for you. So we have a little cream gone in there. And again, it's just aerating very nice as a sauce. And it's a light sauce, not heavy sauces on the actual fish. Okay, so we're nearly ready to plate up the first dish. We'll get all this going. So my prawns are just cooking nicely through the rice, getting all that nice flavour. Need to just put 1 or 2 little knobs of butter in there. My tomato just going in here. I'm going to get a few little chives, bit of choppy. So we're quick here today with our first dish on our Celtic True Food journey. And don't forget, ladies and genties, you're all with me on this journey. When we complete it there, you'll see the work done in half an hour and the food brought to you in a nice style. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need just to wilt these a little bit. So I'm just going to put them in the steam pot, let them wilt, and then we start traying up. Okay, that's the way there. Thank you. All right. Now, just getting this into my little ring. And when I'm putting it in the ring, I'm putting like a castle or a little mount in the middle of the actual plate. Then I'm going to put the nice white fish around that. And then we're going to lace it with the lovely light lobster sauce. And then top that with the green. So what are we looking at? We're looking at green, white and gold of Ireland, a Celtic coastal stew, and also a nice flavour that goes very, very well together. Okay, so fish is just cooked nicely. Now I have some turbot, sole. I have a nice little bit of monkfish. And then I have my wilted greens just going on there. So that'll be enough there. Now, just to lace this with this lovely sauce, just around. The Gallego rice is doing its job. Okay, that's our rice just done there. Now, just the next thing is just a little bit of wilted greens going on top. And there we have it. We're successful through the first dish. I'll get keen to put that through. That's what it is, ladies and genties. Just our Irish coastal stew, our lovely white fish, That is our turbot, our sole, and also monkfish. We have our Gallego rice that I was talking about, our friends over in Galicia, our Celtic connection. We have our nice greenery going on top, wilted greens, and then we have our nice seasoning on top. Happy days here at the Taste of Dublin, and it's really bring the food to the people and the people to the food. Many people have passed through, all these different caterers have catered them. They brought a lovely flavour of Dublin to this event, and that's what's happening here.
Look at it now, and just walking on here today in the lovely stands and lovely weather here in the setting in Dublin Castle. That'd be fantastic. Yeah. And all the restaurants are showing the best of their produce, and the Irish suppliers, which you know I'm very fond of supporting, like you are.
Absolutely.
It's great to see them here.
Yeah.
I've no problem. I mean, my roots would probably go back to Irish food like yours, but probably in a different sense. I wouldn't be doing the same research as you. But I love looking at my local suppliers and producers. I'm working in Mount Juliet now in Kilkenny and based there, and I like promoting their produce. But just going back to what you said about one or two restaurants when we opened the Bartic Court, with only one or two suppliers as well of food. Yeah. And look at so many different suppliers of food coming in from all over the continent. But get back to your question about the ethnic. I think it's great. I mean, it adds to the dimension, and the more people that eat out in Ireland, the better. But I think it's giving us, it's focusing our mind really that we should have an Irish cuisine. And I'm glad to see that you're doing that, because we could be swamped. Yeah. And we've been tied too often to the food of England because we're under the dominance of England for so long. Absolutely. But it's about time we stood up on our own 2 feet and said, you know, this is Irish food and this is what we're proud of.
So what I have here is a story about a two-tone onion soup. And I'm looking at using a white onion and a red onion. I'm looking to use a black stout and a little whiskey cream to go into this. And when I talk about Christian pagan food, I'm talking about using the yin and yang of Irish cuisine. I'm looking at using the imagery of that. And there's a poet called Orson Clark. I just have a little drink of water. And Orson Clark, he actually spoke and wrote about the Christian pagan mode in Ireland. And that's where we had a big change when the Druids went out and the Christianity came in. And the religion, again, you're defined in black and white. And that's what I'm trying to do in the food. Use that imagery in my cookery. And you'll see another dish later on we use with this. So we have a little bit of onion cooking away here. In the pot here, I have another little bit of onion. I just top that up with a little water. It's cooking too much. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to put my two-tone onion soup into my glass bowl, so one on top of the other, and get it like a pint of Guinness, because one soup is flavoured with Guinness, the other is flavoured with a little whiskey cream. Okay, so I have a little bit of thickening agent here, arrowroot just going into it. Now I must ask you, are you all happy there? You all can hear me and everything? Yeah, thank you for coming along. It's quite a pleasure to be here in front of you. Okay, so we're all in this journey together, and that's what it is today, ladies and gentlemen, bringing the food to the people and the people to the food. Now just flicking in a little bit of herbs, and there's nothing better. The smell of that is fantastic. Here, have a little smell there. Pass it around, we have a little. And then my little secret ingredient is I have my Guinness reduction just going in there, giving that nice flavour. Oh, lovely. It's darkened up lovely. Okay. Just to get the first one in, and let this settle. Okay, so this is dish number 2. Now I need to work with my white one, and again we're going to use a little bit of cream in there to lighten that up, and also then a little bit of whipped cream, and you see it going on top. A little bit of my seasoning, a little bit of chives. Now, so there we have it. I've cooked this soup many a time, and it just gives me a great feeling of Dublin when I cook something with Guinness or the Chateau Dublin of old, you know, because it's such a great ingredient. And by using Guinness in food, it has been Irish, but also it's bringing that unique flavour to the dish. So we're just waiting that just to boil up. That's nearly ready there, and you'll see me perform my lovely two-tone onion soup with a little bit of whipped cream just going on top. Yeah. Now, I'll tell you a little story about this. My father was over in London when I worked in London, and he went into a pub, and he went for the 3 days into the pub, and he had his pint and went home. And on the third day, the Cockneys, they saw him, and they said, hello, mate. And he said, hello. He said, oh, I see you're Irish. He said, I am indeed. He said, oh, I see you're drinking a load of Guinness. He said, I am indeed. And he said, well, there's a big difference between the London Guinness and the Irish. He said, you're right there. He said, when we go into a pub in Dublin, he said, we wink at the barman, and then he knows the pint on. And with the skill of his hand, he pulls down the lever, and he has the pint glass at an edge, and then he fills that 3/4 full. And also, he said, with respect to you, he puts the actual pint in front of you, and with respect to the barman, you let that settle. And he said, then he comes back 2 minutes later and he finishes off the skill and puts it in front of you. And he said, my friends, like all good things, the cream always comes to the top. And then he said, with a blink of an eye, and he said, in a clap of a hand, he said, we whip off the white stuff and we eat it like a sandwich, and then we knock back the black stuff. And he said, you know what we call that in Dublin, my friends? And all these Cockneys were around. They said, no, mate, what's that? And he said, we call that lunch. And he walked out of the pub. And it was just, he had them so well. He was so articulated. Okay, let's finish this lovely soup. Now I'm going to lace this on top. This is just perpetual beauty. This is absolutely gorgeous, ladies and gentlemen. And then, because I'm kind of on a running schedule here that I'm trying to get so much done, I've baked off already some little cheese scones. But when I make my scones, I roll out the pastry and I do a little spiral in it. And that's for me, Celtic, in my scone. There's cheese in that, there's lovely herbs. I call them mountain cheese scones because the colours of Wicklow comes through that. If you look, you'll see the little definition of the Celtic design. Okay, Keane, we're ready to go with that. All right. Just calming down as the crowds change here at the Taste of Dublin. And remember, it's bringing the food to the people and the people to the food. But I have another colleague and a well-known chef all around Ireland and also internationally, Kevin Dundon.
How are you?
It's great to meet you again, Kevin. And just, you know, we're talking about the whole chefs, the new chefs coming through, the actual education of the Irish chef. And it's beginning to happen here. You know, the Taste of Dublin is happening. There's new flavours coming into Dublin, and yourself as well, like doing what you're doing to school and all around Ireland.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I just think that the food in Ireland has changed so dramatically particularly in the last 10 years. I mean, it's predominantly a lot of chefs like myself who've travelled all over the world and picked up some great ideas and brought it back. And then with our indigenous ingredients that we have in Ireland, it's like just fantastic. And to incorporate what we learned, the international flair from abroad, bring it back to our wonderful ingredients and create dishes. But also because the general public are travelling so much that their palate is getting a lot more educated and they're expecting a lot more. So they're actually putting us up to the plate to actually create more.
Absolutely, and a point that I brought up with Gary Rose just earlier on is that we have the best produce, but we never realised that. We sold our abroad.
I didn't realise it. Yeah. Like when I was working in Dublin before I went away, I always thought, you know, it's because we were so used to it. We were growing up with it. It's like just fantastic. And then you go away, and in fairness, I have a restaurant in America, and to find product with depth in America is very, very hard. Now it is there in fairness, but you just have to look so much harder. It's on our doorstep here, everywhere. Yeah. So you go away, and you know, when you're internationally, there's a lot more flavours and more intense flavours happening, and what's just drawing out the flavour of the food. And then I came back and incorporated that into the style of food that we were doing here. And suddenly everything was just exploding, and the flavours were far too strong, so you had to kind of calm all that education back to actually let the true flavours of our phenomenal ingredients.
And those true flavours as well, you put your money where your mouth is, because you brought that team over to Boston.
That's right.
We all saw what you did there, and hands down, we won.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, everything, every dish, everyone knew, they all stood up and decounted. And that's what's so fantastic about the Irish chef nowadays, you know, that they have the confidence. We have the money coming into the country, the culture is there, the music, the dance, all that is around us. And all we have to do is add that talent into a culinary context. And we can do that. I'm trying to find the hidden Ireland, Kevin, as you are finding, you know, every day.
But it's how I find it is going to local pubs and you meet these quirky people that are actually, like Dan Roche smokes my fish for me. He smokes in his garage behind his house. He's just like a great fisherman, great character. And he says, oh, I smoke a bit of fish too. I said, you do what? And he says, I smoke a bit of fish. I said, where do you do that? And he says, in the garage. I said, oh, geez, I must come down and have a look. So I went down, and it's a fabulous, simple operation. But I mean, his touch is just beautiful. And I worked on it. Like last week, I've come up with a new dish of smoking some cockles, because we get cockles from Duncannon Beach.
Yeah.
And we brought them down, and we started smoking them. We smoked them for a half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, an hour and a half, up to 4 hours, until we got the exact smoke flavour that we were looking for. But it's beautiful to have small producers like that on our doorstep.
Yeah.
But you go to these guys, right, and you get so inspired. You know that you talk about, you look at cookbooks, you look at magazines, you're flicking through, and you're going, interesting idea. Maybe I'll try it this way, and you kind of get inspired. But you go to these guys, the passion that comes out of their pores of the body, just purely of this raw product.
Yeah.
And then you cannot but be inspired to come up with a new book.
So what I have in this, ladies, anyone know what that is? Anybody know what that is? Correct. 100 points for you then. Okay. So in with some cream cheese. In with a little bit of honey. Just going to mix that up. Loosen it. Then a little bit of cream just going in there. And I'm making a Newgrange cheesecake. And what is Newgrange in a vision? It is a white dome with a wall around it with a green top. And this is going to come alive in front of your eyes here the next minute or two. So that's mixed up nicely. And I always carry a few nuts with me there, hunter-gatherer, just as an idea. All these things are important to me in my cookery because, again, it gives me the lines, it gives me the understanding what I'm actually doing. Right, just a few little berries going in there. Okay, so we're nearly there, ladies and genties. Thank you for your patience and your time. Don't forget, we are filming, so you'll see this come up on TV in the next few months. Yeah. I'm just building up the plate here. Okay. Okay, so just mix in some of those lightly. Okay. Then I need a little bit of honey just going in there. Very nice. I have a little bit of sauce. Lovely. And then I have some nuts. And I always say the art of cooking and the cooking of art. And that's what it's all about here, to look into Ireland in a historic and cultural fashion, bring out some new recipes, and also bring out a new presentation in a style that is understood by the Irish, for the Irish. Okay, so that's just going in there. A few nuts, and the rest will go into the cheesecake. Mix that up. Just fill my mold now. Now, okay, we're there around 30 seconds now. And just the last thing, to put the nettle honey on top of the actual cheesecake. And for me, this is the Newgrange cheesecake. The white dome, the green top, very rustic in its format, very simple to do, with a porridge biscuit, with nice wild fruit, reminding me of the stone outside of Newgrange. And what's inspiring Kevin Dundon in the next few weeks or months?
Inspiration for Kevin Dundon. I'm going on holidays tomorrow. That's my biggest inspiration. No, it's meeting these guys. You know, it's like traveling around Ireland. I'm like so busy and I'm traveling all over the place, meeting great chefs and just chatting about food. I could talk about food all day, just like yourself. So over a few pints, it's just great. That's
okay.
really good.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin. It's been a
Thanks,
pleasure.
mate.
Keep it cooking.
Keep going.
Have a good holiday.
All right, thanks a million.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
and that's it. Another colleague here at the Taste of Dublin, bringing the food to the people and the people to the food.
Feel safe, feel secure. ATA Security.